Is there a, is there a,
Down here, it looks like it's 6:50,
thanks, Chris.
Goes
Okay,
5:57.
if we're ready, might as well get going.
Go ahead, start it.
57?
Good evening, everyone. This is the January 9th meeting of the Merrimack Agricultural Commission. The time is...
Bobby, just turn your mic off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. This is the January 9th meeting of the Merrimack Agricultural Commission. The time is 6:57. Any comments from the press or public? Seeing none, we're going to move on to new business. As I mentioned last month and the month before, the annual report's due January 14th. If anybody wants to submit anything, this is the one-page thing that we print in the budget book, the town book. I need it by Friday to get it to Kristen by Monday.
Can't you just repeat what you
Please.
did last year?
Well, I looked at that, but I got to kind of turn it upside down and mix and mash and all that stuff. And then I also got notice that we have a town council presentation in June in reference to this year's activities. So, anyway,
June what?
maybe the 13th, maybe. I'm not
So
But that's a different application. It's history for last year.
Right.
Different story. So that's it for the annual report. If you guys want to submit a sentence or two, please do. Send it my email or call me, and I'll incorporate it. I don't have it done yet, but I want to get it done this week and be done with it. You know. Moving on, item B. Any questions? Sorry.
No.
Any questions? Item B is the scholarship funds. I did fill out the letter that we got from guidance office.
Yes.
Thank you. And I made copies, and I gave a copy to finance so they could have a history, who, what, when, and where. And I'm sure they haven't subtracted the money yet, but
Is that all just the copies to finance?
it's actually a letter that
Letter, I mean.
was sent to guidance. Guidance got the same letter
Okay.
as by request.
Finance and guidance.
And it was supposed to be done today. So I think I mailed it the middle of last week, and it's done. Questions on scholarship? No? Okay. Item C is the summer market. I've changed some dates in preparing the new intro letter and the summer market application. But basically, it's June 12th through October 10th. I believe it's 18 Wednesdays.
October 10th?
I think so, Bess, yes. I don't have copies yet from Tammy, but I haven't given them to Tammy yet. I'm still kind of proofing them. And we'll see. I will get it out. I didn't buy stamps yet either, and I heard stamps went up, so I missed it. Did stamps go up?
I don't know, haven't bought
Anybody
it.
know?
So
I haven't been to the
before
post office, so
I buy the forever ones.
Yeah.
I heard, I don't know if there was a
All
date.
were, aren't they? I mean, all the standard book ones are forever.
Correct, but I haven't bought the 2 rolls I need to do this mailing.
Well, you're not forever now. Are you?
Right. But, and I haven't given Tammy the big printing contract for all this stuff, you know, because she's got to make me 200 copies of each or 210, whatever it was. I don't know. Questions on the summer market? Anybody? No? Okay. And since the last meeting, we finally got the answers to the questions from town manager. And I emailed everybody copies of it. Everybody look at them?
No?
I forgot the attachment. I didn't need time.
I didn't,
I did.
oh, I didn't pay attention. Was there an attachment? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Didn't notice
Yeah.
I
it.
got the minutes and I got the,
No, this is a month ago. Because I literally got these the day after the last meeting.
no, I'll have to go back and look at that.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
That email.
So I sent them 23 questions, which I believe we went over at one time, and I got answers to most of them, but maybe not all of them. So, have you talked to anybody, Don?
I talked to her and she said she sent it out to you after the last meeting. She said she had sent them out
So
the morning of that meeting. I didn't see the.
I didn't see him till I got home, and it was 9 o'clock after last
Have
month's
a
meeting.
copy we can just put attached, see attached?
I do, but let's go over some of the, because I have questions here. Since the last meeting we have, do you have a lease, and is it signed?
I already had a lease, yeah, and they indicated that, from what I understand. Yeah.
Where was it?
All right, so this was signed on November 21st, 2018. I told you that we were working on it, but they said they indicated that they answered your question there.
Okay. Who signed it?
I did, and Steve.
Okay. I
It's-
mean,
It's the same lease I had last year, the year before's lease, it's identical. It just changed.
do you want this for the history, Bess?
Well, I prefer to hold the copy, but I
Okay,
can
yeah.
make you a copy if you need one.
What?
Of the lease for the winter market now.
With the John O'Leary Center.
Copy?
I can get you a copy if you want it.
I mean, I can make a copy of the copier at work if you want, but I don't
Because I thought, when we talked about it last
thought you
December
needed to
meeting,
keep it in your records.
you were still waiting for the lease. I didn't,
So, 2 months ago, when you asked, I said that we had already started the market, and he hadn't done the paperwork, he hadn't processed the paperwork yet, because he had a lot of commitments, here and there. So he hadn't done it. He says, don't worry about it. So there was no, the only one that had stood as something to lose on this was the O'Leary Center if they weren't getting paid because we didn't have a lease. So I had talked to Steve, and I talked to Paul, and he said, just go. I mean, Steve was gonna go to Paul and say, here's my check, here's the bill. We agreed upon with a handshake that we were gonna do it, and then when Steve had time, he was gonna do the lease, come down and see me, and we signed it. So he did. Because I was calling him, but he was doing a lot of weddings and stuff and traveling. So I don't handle his personal schedule, and he's the one who handles this at the O'Leary Center.
but you signed it in November, and you still didn't have it for a December meeting. They didn't give you a copy, or?
Told
what?
you I had it.
I don't remember that.
We probably didn't bring it up.
I remember him saying he had it.
I
but
had a
don't know
lease.
if
I
he
had a
was
signed
I
lease.
apologize.
At the
Okay.
time.
So
You were waiting on it for a while too.
I was just waiting for Steve to print it.
In limbo, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't anything that was in I was on him about it, but I can't make him, produce it. So, I mean, I was waiting for him, and he was fine with waiting, and he was gonna get paid anyway. So, I mean, he was comfortable with the terms. The lease didn't change. It was the same lease as the year before. Same terms, same conditions, same dollar amount. So he didn't adjust anything on it.
So, question 3, the Agriculture Commission is asking for weekly vendor attendance and weekly customer flow numbers for the winter market. Will these be provided to us?
If you want them, I wasn't keeping track of how many, I know how many vendors are there. So basically, because I'm doing a lot of work with this, with advertising and such, when I submit my, receipts into, and I have to turn so I get a receipt book from Paul, and I write every vendor down. I'm the last vendor on every one, so do you know how many, in other words, like today there was 6 vendors. I always write my name last on the book, because I'm the last one, and I pay every week. I don't get it for free. So, with that being said, I have to turn these in to Tom. Tom has requested that we get them. I only get a double, I don't get a triple, so I don't have any.
Probably should get a book with a triple.
Well, I already talked to Tammy, and we're trying to ride this book out to get a new book. Because she kept the one book, so that I have a record. But I can easily obtain this information from Tammy.
Write it down on a sheet.
Their answer was no, the individual in charge of the winter
No, I
market
understand that.
should have these original documents.
But they were asking for them, so the town's asking for them from me. So I'm turning them over to them.
Keep a simple list, that's all,
Okay.
like in a notebook.
Question 4, do we have all signed vendor applications?
Yes, I do. And I actually brought them in whatever meeting we were deciding prior to the market starting. I already had the first, and I showed them to you guys. Brought them in.
Well, I asked you last Wednesday when I went to the market, and you said finance had them.
Yeah, I turned some in to Tammy, yeah.
Finance has nothing.
I mean, I don't run finance, and I'm working on getting more information. I mean, I have a ton of emails that I've already sent over to Tammy. So they can't find my insurance binder, which was sent over to them, when was that?
This is from Tom.
October.
This is from Tom and Tammy.
Okay.
Do we have all up-to-date insurance liability paperwork?
Yes, I do.
Same as above. That was the answer. from there.
And I understand, I'm the one that's getting the information, and I'm turning it over to the town.
Question 6, where and who keeps all of this documentation? The answer is all documentation should be forwarded to finance and they will keep all the records.
Correct. But here's my question to them. I had my insurance company mail my business liability insurance to 6 Babusick Lake Road, Town of Merrimack.
Right.
Like instructed.
Right.
And they don't have it. So I don't know where they put it. But so I had my insurance company email me a copy so that I already printed it, and I'm gonna turn it in with the rest of the other stuff, at the end of the week, with other stuff that I have, when I come back down with more money for them, to say, here you go, here's another copy. Because I called my insurance company, and they were like, again, we're gonna do this? Because we did this last year. So I don't know where it's going.
They told me this morning they have nothing.
Again, I'm saying is I turned it in last year, I have my insurance, there's a lot of reasons.
Automatically.
My insurance, the insurance binder should come from the insurance company, not from the vendor. Because a vendor could easily just take this, do some whiteout,
Correct.
print
Right,
it.
right.
So I want mine to come from my insurance company, and I
Right.
asked for everybody to send it from their insurance company.
Right.
So my insurance company will then email and also hard copy paper, mail it. And they mail it to 6 Babusick Lake Road, and they don't have a copy of it. So I don't know where it's going, but I'm gonna turn everything in again. So I've actually asked every vendor to duplicate everything, because if they can't find it, I don't wanna get in this big he said, she said, and get an argument over paperwork not being there. So I'm gonna turn everything in all at once and go through it one at a time and say, here you go, Tammy, here's this vendor, here's this vendor, here's this vendor, and here's this vendor. I've even got food service licenses for when it's applicable, that's getting turned in as well. But I'm also gonna ask Tammy to make a copy of everything, so I have a copy of everything in a book. So I'm kinda fighting, it seems like I'm fighting with you and I'm fighting with them, and I don't understand why there's a fight over this. We're just trying to do a winter farmer's market.
Well, let's get through the questions and then we'll figure out what's going on.
Right along.
Do we have permission to plug in the electronic signboard at the O'Leary Building for the duration of the winter farmer's market? Her answer was yes, as long as it is safely installed with the building/fire department approval.
Yeah,
And you have to get approval from the O'Leary Center.
and I understand.
I understand. Number 9, can Bob sell the sign to the Ag Commission? Yes, for the commission's use only. Yes, however, the town would reserve the right to use it during emergency situations, which goes to extent that as far as extension cord reaches, right?
Well, right, I mean, and that's, I had already talked to Eileen about that. It seems like we're,
Let me just get through the
Yeah.
questions. How do we register it? You don't. The town will register it.
Yep.
How do we insure it? You don't. It will be placed on the town insurance policy once the town registers it. How do we move it from location to location? There is a town policy on work on town equipment by volunteer, or you can request from the town manager to have the sign moved. Question 13. 2 of our members are employees of the town. Can they move the sign without retribution, such as from the union or from fellow town workers? Excuse me. By definition, if these employees regularly move trailers or drive equipment for the town, then they cannot move the sign without being paid. Ronnie was right. So that kind of puts a kibosh on you two guys moving any trailer for us. Number 14, does the town of Merrimack have a mechanic who can evaluate or repair electronic signboards? Yes, we do for the mechanical aspects. For anything related to the IT, meaning the sign, we would need to get an outside vendor involved. So there's no mechanic there for that, apparently. Number 15, is our signboard permitted on all town properties as we have previously been advised? Yes, we would only ask that you give the town manager advance notice as to where you are planning the sign to be placed. Number 16, will Agriculture Commission members be able to move the signboard, or do we need town employees to move it? Yes, as long as it complies with the work on town equipment by volunteer policy, see attached. So I have that policy somewhere.
Ronnie drives, I don't drive anything.
I think you're out for moving it.
Yeah. I'm
And
pretty sure-
they would have to pay you too, because you're in the union. You in the union?
Grievance chair.
Oh, Jesus. Really?
I am, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You're right.
Yeah, but the school district and the town are.
It has to be part of your job spec. Okay.
Sorry. I don't drive anything. I mean, I'm a teacher. There's nothing in my duties.
So you can't move it.
Okay.
And you can't move it because we ain't paying you.
Right.
So it's back to me again, I guess.
Well, if we have a schedule, we could set that in place and ask to have it delivered by the highway department.
We'd have to get a rate because we have to pay an employee now.
And it's after, I'm sure it's after, well, during the day if
Yeah.
they move it.
So
on
it'd be
town
an
property,
AM move,
Right,
and then it'd be a
right.
PM move.
it
What's
should
the
be
minimum?
overtime.
2 hours, 2 hours, or
Two.
4 hours?
It depends on the department, I know.
So if we call, I talked to Lori about this over DP, if they move it during workday, like if they get, which commonly happens,
Yeah.
they can grab whoever and say, hook up to the trailer and move it from here to there.
Well, that's one way. What about 6 o'clock?
Could they pick it up the next day, or does it have to be moved that?
Be out of
Well, if you park it, let's just
That's if you park it at Charlie's, correct?
yeah,
Yeah,
well, that's different.
right. That's his
But
property.
if it was at Watson's Park, we could technically
could
leave
leave
it
it.
overnight.
What do we plug it into?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Well,
Let's go with
we can work towards,
Or batteries.
we can work towards the battery thing. I mean, I got a very good price as I told you.
No, I
on
know
the
that,
batteries.
but we're
I'm
still
saying-
$1,400
There's
away
no
from
power, there's no power at Watson anywhere? They don't have
that.
any?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Down here?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's power. The Rotary Club put it in.
okay, so that's an option.
There's a whole there's a whole brand new thing, right? The Rotary Club, they got the sign right on it.
By the road, or is
It's
it
right
down
by the road.
Gazebo?
It's right by the road. So they have a Rotary sign right on it, right down there.
It could stay there
They had that
for-
big
instead of
inflatable
moving it.
rotary.
No, they got a sign right on the,
Oh, I remember
We'd have to
last
get
year they had a
permission
big
for that.
inflatable
yeah, they had a big
inflatable.
inflatable when they were selling the
I mean,
Christmas
instead of
trees.
moving it back and forth to the market, couldn't it just be kind of
We could probably,
Watson?
It
I
would be
mean,
better to have a permanent location, and then not worry, just change the,
Well, that's what I mean,
Verbiage.
and that's a pretty visible spot there, and
Watson Park and then, I'm trying to remember.
You could definitely, I think where it's in the same place all the time, you get kind of like, okay, you driven by it.
Well, they
'cause you
get
know
numb
it's
to
there.
it. I mean, maybe we could
Right.
talk
well,
to
not
even,
necessarily, because, I mean, I really, when I pull in to the summer market, I'm not paying attention to that sign, I'm watching
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
oh, right, trying to
So-
cross.
So I don't kill myself or somebody
Well,
else to pull it in.
If we're
so-
changing their verbiage every week,
Yeah.
they won't get numb to it, I guess, is what
Right.
I'm saying.
But I think if it's in one spot, and that's a busy spot.
Well, if you're only turning it on Wednesday.
Yeah.
People are gonna pay attention.
Well, if it's there, we could put it on
Black all the
Tuesday.
other time, the
Yeah,
other
you
weeks.
could put it on
yeah.
earlier, so give people a heads up
Yeah.
that something's
Hey,
coming.
tomorrow on this, yeah.
so we need to get permission to leave it there for 18 weeks.
Well,
I can work on that. I mean, it's,
Something to think about.
But even
you
if we
know.
couldn't leave it there, I mean, they don't want it there for a
Get
whole
half
week.
of the
We could
time.
have it dropped off Wednesday morning, fired up, and they pick it up Thursday morning and bring it back to the
Perhaps.
garage
And by the sounds.
'Cause if
and
it's during-
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Sorry.
off, politics.
during regular business hours, then it should be rated, right?
it wouldn't be.
Theoretically.
We could get it done.
I didn't ask that question.
All right, we can look
I
into
just
that
think
though.
it's a good location, you know.
Where it's town property, it sounds like you could almost put it and try a couple different locations to bring people.
The
yeah.
extension cord has to reach it, though.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the biggest
So I
problem.
think
But,
consideration.
Right now,
down,
anyway.
down
right
the
now.
road, if we do,
But
if
that's
we do
something that we,
batteries,
but that's something we can approach
later-
Paul and
yeah.
say, okay, where can we go? Where we got power? And have him give
Could
us.
stay a
some-
while, you
Yeah.
know, keep it there for a few weeks, maybe move it someplace else, but no, not every week.
All right, so that's something we gotta work on, the duration of that sign on town property.
Definitely, yeah.
And within range of plugging it in, if, at least in the beginning, to get more money up. There's a few more here. Number 17, are we interested in moving the community garden away from Wasserman Park? No answer. Number 18, away from the archery course? No answer. Number 19, to a permanent site on new town property. No answer. Number 20, will the town manager approve this idea with us? The town council needs to approve the move.
Where do we wanna move where do you wanna move the garden to again?
The other end of Greenfield Estates on Pearson,
Quite a hike.
right by the pump house?
I was about to ask that,
Right, yeah, right by the pump house.
Side of town, where's that?
Pearson's over.
Supposedly, I haven't seen the last Greenfield map, surveyor map, but it says recreation or agriculture. I haven't seen it though.
Is this,
Pearson's Road, though, I'm not,
Sorry?
where's Pearson's Road?
Pearson's off of, Bedford Road. You get down by, where they used to have the old bridge going towards,
Yeah, it's right.
Oh, okay, like heading out towards Bedford?
yeah,
Like
you
off
take
of
it
Liberty
right
Hill?
on Pearson,
Continental
yeah.
Zone, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it takes you right over Liberty Hill.
Okay.
It's a site that was shown to me by the former owner. It's slightly sloping. We did a soil test. I think the idea would be to buy some railroad ties, real railroad ties, set them in one row, pin them, fill it 6 inches in with loam, and use it as raised beds and no more rototilling.
Oh, we do
No more
raised beds.
staking, except for the white flags.
Oh, I see.
See, minimize what we all do over down here, down there, you know, with the stakes and the strings and all that
Would it be a
baloney.
bigger property?
I don't know what we would take, Ronnie, you know, I think we'd set maybe 50, let's say we set 50 8x10s or
Because-
8x12s.
Right now, we have a lot of space that's not being used as well at the garden. It'd be nice to have, you know, do we want to lose the space for newer, better ground, or you want to stay?
This site has no ledge, it's slightly sloping downhill.
Water access?
Is there a water faucet there?
I have no, I mean, it's,
Is this,
Again,
So if you were
I
doing
believe
raised
it's on
beds,
town
you're gonna
water.
bring in soil?
Yeah.
You have to buy.
to buy a couple
loam
loads.
And, you know.
Yeah. And I'll bring Kyle's Mini, we'll fill them in and, you know, stuff like that.
So
I-
it's-
If it,
so it's
if we
new.
get that far, we're not anywhere near that yet.
we're just
you
kind of,
know.
yeah.
Concept.
It's a vision, idea, concept, yeah.
Say everything works out perfect, I guess you'd be losing your space as far as plots, but like I said, there's no ledge, there's less work for us.
No ledge,
on
there's
the-
no
on
more
the-
ro-
If we do,
Starting with fresh loam, so hopefully less weeds, at least for the first season.
right.
I mean, there was little rocks like this that I scooted out a soil sample I sent to Durham.
is this Swenson's old place?
Yeah, the very end of it, which is owned by Elementane now, you know, so.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a suggestion, we're not there yet, you know.
No, I was just trying to,
Well, another,
It's,
because at Greenfield I did some work in the old section that Lamontagne did. So this is a new section in in Bedford is where I did some work.
this piece is labeled, like I said, recreation and/or agriculture. It's sloping, so I'm hoping they don't have to build a soccer field here, or a baseball diamond here.
Well, there's a,
Because the cut would be 5 or 6 feet from end to end.
no, but with it, I guess so this piece is owned by the town, Merrimack?
It will be once they're done building, yeah.
So, yeah, did the town broker a deal with Lamontagne to build a field? Because there is a huge demand for fields. I mean, they're talking, and I'm not, I've not heard anything. I'm just,
Well, with the cluster housing, they think they put, I don't know.
they put a bunch in
60
the
or
old
80
one,
units,
at
whatever it
Bedford.
was, together. And they have to use the other acreage for recreation and/or agriculture.
Right.
So that's what I'm talking
Alright.
about.
So I guess the town maybe brokered a deal with, I don't know, if they're turning this piece over. I know nothing about it.
I haven't been downstairs to even look at the plan
Alright.
and get a copy. That's the next meeting, maybe, no? I mean, if it's even labeled like that, and then town council, and we'll see, you know, but
I'd be supportive of that, though, I mean, if that's something that was actually foreseeable and,
I feel at Wasserman, we're getting pushed out, especially with the bow and arrows, like changing the angle now. There's 2 nets now there. And the ledge is always there. I mean, the irrigation, I don't care about the irrigation. You know, we trenched it in, but it's just seasonal anyway.
Yeah.
That's gone, you know. I guess I was looking for support because the previous town manager, when we developed Wasserman Community Garden 10 years ago, supported it, and immediately went to the superintendent. We got the hydrant turned on every year for nothing. We got it disconnected for nothing. All we had to do was put that irrigation, and we cut under the road, and put the 1-inch pipe in the faucets in. I mean, that was our extent of it. And I was looking for something like that over here, but not yet anyway, so.
Well,
I
the
mean, as a play,
advantage of raised beds is that you could make a couple of them higher for people who might be handicapped that want to garden.
That's true, Bess, that's true. I want to get out of the deal with rototilling and mowing and stuff, you know what I
Well,
mean?
you spend a lot of time doing it, and
Yeah.
Not only that, but
So, I guess my question would be, so each plot would be hand-tilled by the people?
Or turned over, whatever, you know, that's their responsibility. You know the old railroad ties, the real.
No,
8.6 by 8.6 or whatever they are, they're rough. We'd make them, to redo the 10 by 10, we'd make them, let's say 8 by 12. And that's
Yeah, no,
100
no,
feet.
right.
the only problem with railroad ties is they're treated.
The creosote, yeah.
well,
That's kind of,
They're gonna outlive me, Bess.
there's worse things.
well, that's very
so,
true, because I used to
get
use
you.
them for
No, but
fence posts and
when I was doing landscaping, they were talking that people didn't want them used anymore, and I don't know how, if they got any traction or not. So,
you can't get creosote.
Correct, but I can get a commercial grade, and I think number 300, either green or brown.
right,
I mean, the commercial contractor can still touch some of that stuff.
right.
I don't even know if we have enough money to do it, you know what I mean? Because
Well, it's a good
you buy a couple
thing
pallets,
to think about and to apply some of our monies towards, sort of the future.
you know, you buy a hundred
So
railroad ties at $15 a piece, that's 1,500 right there.
Yeah, it'll eat up
You know,
quick.
But still, you're looking for long-term, so it's gonna pay long-term.
you could always
Benefit.
fundraise for this too, correct? If you wanted to.
I suppose, Ronnie, but, I mean, I think right now we still got a couple grand.
It helped make a dent if we, you know,
We don't know what the participation is that we send the
that's right.
You might
commu-
just
And they
increase
might say
the
no.
cost of the plots.
well, they're $10 now.
Well, I think they would go up if you're putting in all fresh loam and all of that. You need to reconsider the
I
cost.
think that people will be willing to pay another
Oh,
10
well,
or
certainly.
$15.
Have good
For a raised
soil
bed.
and-
$30.
I was talking to somebody that goes to Nashua, they get 25 by 25 for $50. I mean,
I know
that's a
Bedford
big-
charges more, I don't
25
remember
by
what they
25
charge.
feet.
They're
Wow.
big plots, yeah.
And was that in Nashua?
Greeley Park.
Oh, okay, right over there.
So again,
15 or 20 wouldn't be unreasonable.
Perhaps.
each plot person would have to turn their own over.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
I know that Bedford ran into a little bit of trouble, so they'd do the same thing. Each plot member would have to take care of their own.
Or you give them, the name of a guy with a portable machine, and
Okay.
you could pay him to do it if they had to, but it would give them the four corners.
Yeah, no,
and
I
Their weeds are their
It
weeds.
should be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I'd keep them wide enough so maybe Park and Rec would go down there and mow the grass in the middle, I don't know, someday.
Well,
Would you have to have grass? You could just put down
Something's
sort
gonna
of
grow.
wood chips or something in
So-
between.
Something's gonna grow, Bess, over there.
Bedford does this. They have these paths and they put wood chips and they had like Asplon or somebody just dumping a bunch. And then they built a fence around it and then they're asking me with my big tractor to come in. I said, I can't get in there now. You know, so now they're doing with a little tractor. But there's still weed, I mean, I don't care what you put down, weeds
Something
are
will grow.
growing. They're gonna grow right on top of the plastic, they're gonna grow on top of the felt. It's just a nightmare. So you'd almost be better off just letting the grass go in and mow the grass between the plots and call it a day. But, yeah, anyway, I don't really, over.
All right, so the town council needs to approve the move. Number 21, and sponsor a new site and make a town water connection and meter available to the community gardens as was done before at no cost, in accordance with the agreement with Merrimack Village District. The answer was to be determined. That's a new answer.
Well,
Number 22, we would build a permanent raised beds for gardening and make water faucets available to the gardeners as a new site. No answer. 23, soil tests have been submitted to UNH. We are awaiting results. We got the results. It came out to be 5.5. Needs 180 pounds of nitrogen. The soil is there, but it needs to be regenerated. You know, it needs fertilization, needs some lime. Yeah, I know that. So we have a few unanswered questions. We have an idea to propose to town council. It's only January. And I'll look at the map this month downstairs and see what becomes of it. Or if it's even foreseeable, you know, that type of thing. Questions?
So is that something you want to do for this upcoming gardening season, if we can? Or is this for 2 years from now?
It might be 2 years, you know why? I don't think it's built out yet. You know how those guys are, they're gonna put a loam pile there and,
Yeah, no, I was just, didn't know what your expectation was.
we'd have to talk to the developer. I mean, Connie's in there now, but if he goes that far and starts stripping,
There goes your loam.
yeah.
And that's probably what's gonna happen.
Well, the loam's not that thick anymore because Jackie already got a whack at it 20 years ago.
So Connie still take the rest.
Well, so something though that.
It's just a nice open site for a change. There's a parking lot there already. Hopefully there's a water faucet there. I thought my man would eyeball that and let me know. You're there every day, right?
No, I'm not really on the road that much.
Oh, I see. Anyway, okay. Food for thought. But in the meantime, the rest of the month, I'll go downstairs at some point and see what that really looks like, if it's there or not.
Well, it's a good, something to think about and plan for the future.
Yeah. So the next item on our agenda is the winter market.
Summer,
We talked about summer market.
item C.
No,
Oh.
in fact, we've moved on from C.
We're in E.
We're at E.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're at E, Ronnie. We talked about the vendor list. We talked about paperwork. We talked about the attendance sheet. Vote to continue. What's going on? Don?
It's busy. I mean, I'm encouraged. Today was a little slow because of the weather, I think, this morning. The vendors are all encouraged. We had 6 vendors here today, so the fish guy didn't come in because he didn't have any product because they didn't get out on the boat the last couple days because of the weather. Arrowhead, so I got Arrowhead Farm, and they started, their first week was last week. They're a big farm. They have cold root vegetables. They have carrots, onions, peppers,
Parsnips.
parsnips. They got all kinds of stuff. They have jams, jellies, maple syrup. They do have some meat. So they started last week. So it was his first week, and they sent a worker. His name's Nate. He was fine with it. He said he did fairly well for the first time there. They had truck trouble. So it's funny is 2 weeks ago they didn't make Salem so they run this old beater truck for the longest time, and then they got a newer truck. They've had nothing but trouble with it. It's a Chevy. And so he texted me this morning. They were trying to get the truck fixed, but they didn't get it fixed, so he wasn't there today. But they've had nothing. Anyway, moving forward, he plans on being there every week. The vendors are vested in, they're looking at it as a commitment. They want to stick it out for the winter. The customers are coming when we have the fish and the so we had several people come in today looking for Arrowhead for the vegetables. They weren't there, but we did post on Facebook. Some of these people aren't on Facebook, so I gave them the address, and they've now liked the page, or some of them.
Great day. I mean, it was weather-wise. the
Well,
roads
otherwise,
were
it was kind of
great.
horrible, but, so, we've been busy. So last week, we had 30 new people that had never been to the market come through the door last week, on top of the other people that have come in. They stopped coming in probably about 5 o'clock, so last hour we were dragging, but we were busy earlier on. The vendors are encouraged. Again, they're vested for, a lot of them want to come to the summer market, so they're investing their time and money now to get their name out there and stick it out and be a group. We're working as a group rather than having, in years past, where we've had people kind of be a big pill there and they're discouraging and complaining. These guys, we're all working together. They help me with the tables. It's encouraging. So next week on the slate, Benjamin's probably coming back with his cheese. Where the fish guy should be there. Arrowhead will be there. The Celeste Oil, you remember her from, she's coming. The jewelry lady will be back. So we're up to probably have 12 vendors there next week. So 11 or 12, I lost count. So they seem encouraged to want to be there. Working, Bob was there last week asking questions about the signs, or asking questions what they want, and the biggest thing is get some signage up. I ordered some signs. I'm paying it out of my own pocket for the market, because I don't want to be a burden on the account here. They haven't come in yet, but also the ground's frozen where I don't know if I'm gonna get them in. So I've got some holes, which I'm refinding every week. I gotta go out there, like today, a little hard to find, but I found it to stick the sign in. And we're just getting awareness out there, but a lot of people are we're doing a Facebook campaign where we're pushing on this, and I'm sharing a lot on the Merrimack Forum, the new positive one. And there's more and more awareness coming in, and we had a couple new people come in today. But I guess the biggest encouraging part is the vendors, we're all working together, and we want it to work.
It's more encouraging than last year.
Yeah, I think it
Better
is.
than last year.
There was a good unity when I was there last Wednesday. I give it that. I really do give it that. They were all excited and all that. Here's my concern. We got the finance statement, and in 9 weeks, all you came up with was $450.
Yep.
So the rent is $550, Donnie, in 2 months. So you're 100 short in 2 months.
So
what happened?
I adjusted the weekly pay to $10 instead of $15 for multiple reasons. For one, I want to encourage these vendors to come in, and they're investing. Also, I'm getting more vendors. So next week, when I have 12 vendors, I have $120 just that 1 week. You see what I'm saying?
When were you going to tell us you adjusted it without asking about it?
Thought I did
When?
we talked. I don't know. I thought we talked about it in the beginning. I wanted to adjust the rate to $10 versus $15.
Anybody hear that?
I don't remember. I'd have to look back at the minutes to see.
It should have been voted on.
Been a little while.
I think it's something that
Been
the
voted on.
commission should have known about it and should have been voted
Well,
on.
You can look back.
I apologize. I thought I did. I mean, I'm not trying to run this as my market.
I didn't say that.
Well, I'm
It's just that at $10, it's not paying the rent. So we're here at 3 months. What should we do? What should we do?
You guys can do whatever you want. How's that? I mean, it seems like I'm getting attacked on this.
I'm not attacking you.
Well, then why did I get 2 calls today from the town office saying that you were gonna come in here wanting to postpone this winter market? You're already talking to people that you're gonna try to squash this. So, if this is what you
told me
wanna do.
last week, you told me last week, all the applications and all the insurance
I have all the
was at
paper,
finance.
I thought we already
Was
covered this.
at finance.
I thought we already covered this.
So the rent at the market, moving right along to the rent situation,
Let's talk about the rent.
is $275 a month, right? So you need, regardless of whether, you do need to at least get enough to
Yep.
cover the rent.
It's $68.75 a week.
Right?
That's what it comes out
And
to.
the payment was,
So do they pay in advance, Don, or they pay every
We
time
pay,
you
I
buy?
have them pay weekly when they attend the market. Okay? Because they don't want to pay if they don't, so let's say we cancel the market due to a snowstorm. If there's no school, there's no O'Leary Center, there's no market. That is what we were told by the town manager or finance. So,
But that's reasonable enough money, $10, that they, if they paid for the season,
Like they do for the summer
like
market,
they
you're
do for
saying?
the summer market.
so again, we're gonna run into an accounting problem
well, that's a seasonal thing now. Now you're talking about 30 weeks probably.
versus 18. So there is a big difference there.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to
Well-
pay for ahead of time.
Yeah, it'd be 300
Well,
bucks.
the bottom line is, you need to make enough to cover your expenses, period.
So next week, if there's
Regardless.
12, so I've already got the commitments from, I'm waiting for Benjamin and he'll tell me on Sunday. But even if he doesn't come, there's still probably 11 vendors, 10 or 11 vendors. So we're almost double
Depending on the weather.
what, correct. So we're almost double what is needed to pay the rent for that week. So it pays the following week. So you're gonna have ebbs and flows. There's gonna be some weeks that you got 6 vendors, and there's other weeks you're gonna have 12. I'm pretty confident that we can make it work. We still have a little bit in the kitty we still had probably a couple $100 we carried over from last year. I'm pretty confident that, like, it seemed like every month we surprised you guys with, we had money in that account from the winter market.
We gave you 500 to start.
Did we ever return it?
No.
All right, well, then I'll work towards that and we'll get it
No,
paid
I'm
back.
not going, no, I'm not
No,
talking
no,
about that.
I don't think that's.
There's
an
another-
issue. You just need to make enough to cover, make
Need to
sure
pay the
rent's
rent.
covered,
Yep.
pay
We
the rent,
also made a promise to pay the scholarship equally.
And that's not gonna happen.
It's 3 times 666. There's 3 accounts, and that's not there.
That's not gonna happen.
And then the fact that you went to $10 and didn't even tell us.
Well,
Now you really can't make the rent.
I'd have to look back in the minutes. I don't recall, but then that was,
I thought I did. So it's not something I was trying to hide,
so.
so. Well, you guys didn't do your vote. I mean, I'm working my ass off trying to get this done. And I'm pulling all the,
Now, as long as,
Anybody else want to speak up?
I mean,
as long as,
not questioning
no,
the amount of effort put out there with the Facebook campaign and whatnot. I mean, we like to know how many people are rolling in each week as far as customers go. I mean, we could average out how many vendors you get each week, but if you're only getting 6 per week, that's only $60 a week. That's $8 short. Now, granted, some weeks you may get more, and that,
There's no guarantee.
even if you went and said, on average, we have 8, that's $80 every week. You're making $17. Oh, no, excuse me, 13. I mean, I like the concept, but at the same time, sometimes it's tough to keep it afloat.
is
Could
it
we-
unreasonable to ask for 15 a week? Really?
I can
mean,
ask
all
'em.
Things considered, to keep it going?
How many would stay?
I don't know. I mean, I
Is
didn't,
it worth asking? I mean,
I can ask them.
I mean, I like to see things succeed personally, and I know you put a lot of effort into that, and it seems like the customers are coming in better this year than they have last year. You have more vendors, really interesting, people with good produce, the fish, I wish it was later, I'd skip over after work, but I don't like to drive at night, and, but,
Where we do the winter market on the weeks, obviously when the summer market's here, we have the whole summer. Besides that, the winter market started right up again before, the winter market will run right till the summer market, the week before, or?
The plan was to run it right up, and then the following
does,
week,
I
it
mean,
would
you just
switch
kind
right
of
over.
go-
Correct. Now,
November 7th was the first one,
If we could,
through the end of May.
Was gonna run it right up to June.
Runs right in.
Because, well, last year we shut it down because of the attendance of the vendors. And now I have that, I'm trying to solve that problem. And now, so I'm on a double-edged sword. I ran into a couple customers at the Tractor Supply. They're encouraged, they're happy. And one lady says to me, you're on a double-edged sword because you need the vendors to get the customers. And without the customers, you can't keep your vendors. So I was trying to make this appealing to keep the vendors coming
Well, that's
and make
true
a
with
commitment to it. And then the more vendors we have, so we're going towards more vendors staying. And that's the key. And the money will come. So this is kind of a long-term, but not that long-term of an investment by the vendors. We're trying to keep this rolling so that we have the customers coming back. The summer market went through this ebb and flow when they were down at Tractor Supply, and then I remember it was a dismal, you had like 4 vendors down there, and it was a dismal showing. For years it went like this. So I guess I'm just asking for a little bit of patience. I will make this work, or I will shut it down. I work on averages. So when I, as a vendor, go to a farmer's market, and I make $50, if I make $50 and it costs me 20 to be there, and after about 4 or 6 weeks, I'm going to say no. But I gave it a good shot. But in chances are, I'm going to build it to something where I'm going to stay and make more money. So that's really all we're looking to do. So the more vendors I have there at $10, the more I can keep them there for the long term, and it will work. And if it doesn't work, again, like last year, I will shut it down. I mean, I'm there every week, and I'm paying my money the same time as everybody else. So it's, and again, I've got a store down the road I pay rent on, a commercial space that, you know, it'd be
I
easy
don't
just
think
to.
anyone's questioning that.
But,
You know, my whole thing is, I can see where you're coming from, Don, I really can, as far as you're just starting to get the wheels rolling. And I can see where the commission's coming from, where we think we talked about, we're not, no one's sure. But at the same time, we gotta communicate more as far as to what we wanna do for plans for this. I'm willing to come help, put tables up and stuff. I've been very busy these last couple weeks, holiday season, getting sick. I know you weren't feeling that well.
Yep.
But I will be there to help out, and I think
I'm not even asking for
Well,
that.
what
I'm
did
just,
I know,
What
but
did
what-
you charge last year?
it was 15.
It was 15, so you just okay.
So I adjusted it down lightly to get more vendors there, to still hit the nut on the rent. Which is really all the object is at this point in time, is just to get this off the ground, is just pay the rent.
What I wanted to ask was, I know we talked back to the whole, how the summer market, we do the whole vendor fees right up front. It's very hard when you have an extended number of weeks, you're over 18 weeks. If we could somehow round it down to like not like a trial, but like you do like not quarterlies, but if you could almost set it up so where you have either 2 sessions or 3 sessions, you pay the first session
Yeah, I can do that, but,
And then-
so
up front, and then if you want, and you
What I'd like-
go from, you know what I mean?
what I'd like to do is this, no one's gonna do that until the market proves to them that they're gonna sustain it. So this is why I
It's
do
a
the.
while for the summer market to do the
Correct,
same.
so this is why I'm trying to do the weekly. And yes, it's, I mean, I sit there and fill out the receipts and
Hard because of the weather.
the weather, so
Very
there's,
true.
there's a caveat of the
Weather's
weather.
unpredictable,
so
correct,
far.
yes.
So, I have, like, I'll just use Benjamin, for instance, he won't come to the summer market because he doesn't wanna, he won't be there every week, and he doesn't wanna pay the whole 125 because he won't be there. So we don't get him as a vendor. That's his words.
Right.
So, I'm trying to keep the selection up, and I don't, and I've told Benjamin, just come once a month, that's fine with me. And we get them for once a month, and the people, and the customers can plan around it.
Cheese freezes.
Huh?
Cheese freezes. You can
Oh, it
freeze
does, yeah.
You can freeze-
So,
yeah.
and buy ahead.
so that's just all so I guess my business plan is in my head as far as how I'm trying to do this, and, you know, I'm trying to communicate it with you. And I apologize again if I didn't convey the whole $10 versus the 15. I thought I did.
Well, it's
Because
always,
that would've-
it's always important, you know, to keep the chair abreast of any changes, because that's
Yeah,
why
no,
he's in that position. And, so that's all I have to say about that. So if you do make changes or think of something else.
but it was in the
always
beginning,
run
so
it
it's
by
not like
the
I went
chair.
15 and went back to 10. It was, I started off at 10, so it's,
So that he isn't unawares, because that kind of makes him look foolish if he doesn't have information about those changes, and anyway, it's just a respectful thing to do.
So for myself, excuse me, Bess, I think I'd be willing to go another month and review it February 13th again, review this again, see if you can pay the rent, get caught up with the rent, and we'll talk about the winter market in February, unless somebody is against us.
No,
I just,
okay, I think
Ronnie,
it's,
go ahead.
I think it's off to a really good start. just think we need to just iron out the
We
wrinkles.
need the attendance, we need to see the applications, we need to see all that junk. Please.
attendance from who? How many
Well, just
customers?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
make a
How many customers, how many
sash
vendors you
marks-
got?
sash
I
marks
mean,
of how many people come in.
you know,
you know.
when I picked up Tom's thing, there was one payment in 9 weeks, and I couldn't believe it. And I started doing 15 divided by 450. Didn't
So,
make sense to me.
what do you mean? I was sick for 3 of those weeks. I didn't want to go in there,
No,
and I talked to Tammy. What do you mean?
the whole number of the money is 450 over 9 weeks. It didn't pay the rent, you know? And I had no idea until somebody over there told me, oh, we changed the price. Who's we? Nobody told me. Nobody told me.
That's why I
Okay,
said, you-
again,
you need to
I
be careful as
apologize,
to-
I was,
I'm willing to go another month. Let's see if the rent gets caught up and gets paid. But you need the paperwork, please, Don. Anybody?
I think it should work itself out based on what Don said. If the vendors do come, which it sounds like they're coming, I have hope for the
and
market
customers.
and customers as well, yes. For the vendor's sake, yes. What's the game plan if we don't? We're gonna have to pay for it out of the winter market or some account? Is that,
no,
It should stop. If it can't pay for itself, it should stop.
but the money we owe, I'm saying, if we owe money.
we're not gonna owe any money.
We don't owe money.
I'm just-
not worried about that.
Well, we're 100 short, right, we're only 100 short right now, Ronnie.
Oh, 100,
Next
okay,
month,
okay.
next month,
I thought, I'm hearing 450, I'm like, oh, we're that,
that was the payment in 9 weeks, total,
okay.
to that.
Vendor
portion.
fees.
Vendor fee, thank you. That's what came, and the bill was $550, $275
Okay,
times 2.
I thought you said I misunderstood you. I thought you said we were
We're
450
100
short.
short to pay the
We're
rent.
100, it's a big difference between 450 and, I got you, I was mixed up with what you said, okay.
Yeah, we're not
So if
450
Don
short.
thinks there's enough vendors coming at $10 a pop, then we'll catch up.
I'm very confident.
Even if you had 6 at 10 apiece, you'd get 220 by,
No,
You
it's, what do we need, $68?
68.75 a week.
yeah,
We need 6.5 people,
okay.
7 people,
Well, let's,
7 vendors.
I'm
Give 'em the
hopeful.
benefit of
It
the
sounds
doubt
like it's going on the right track.
You gotta tell us what's going on, Donnie.
just make notes and email.
Call me. Every time I leave here, stay in touch.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you. Anyway, are we all good with that? We're
Yeah,
not-
I'm supportive with that, but at the next meeting, I would like to know from, starting next Wednesday up until that meeting, exactly how many vendors we have per week. And a rough average on how many people are walking through. I mean, bottom line, if vendors are staying,
Yeah.
there's enough people coming.
Definitely.
And the customers, they're taking care of the vendors, but aren't not paying the rent.
I was there for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes last Wednesday, and they were all very encouraged. They all asked for more signage, word of mouth, that type of thing. You know, every one of them. They were all lit up. Every one of them was. I was impressed. There was a community spirit at the market last Wednesday when I was there. And I came in cold that some of them didn't even know me. I met Gavin, I met Alex, I met the
Nate,
other,
Arrowhead.
the new guy, and from,
Arrowhead.
thank you.
The
Yeah.
root vegetable guy?
Yeah. And he's selling meat there too?
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm very hopeful. It sounds like it's starting to get, compared to what's happened in the past year, 2,
Us too, yeah.
It sounds like it's starting to come up, That's good news.
Okay. Enough?
Yep.
Horse sense?
Why not? If there's any sense at all, there's gotta be horse sense, right?
Really?
I just happened to pick up this nifty magazine called Out Here. I think I get that at Tractor Supply free. And there was just a really interesting article on choosing senior horses to consider age before beauty when buying your child's first horse. So a child's first horse should be safe, trustworthy, patient, and dependable, which means that the young, untrained, or inexperienced horse probably isn't the best choice. Instead, it's better and safer to pair an inexperienced child with a kind, wise, older horse that won't be alarmed by the child's mistakes. An inexperienced horse often reverts to instincts of fright and flight when startled or confronted with something new, possibly causing injury to the child, whereas the older, well-trained horse is more tolerant and unflappable. A patient older horse can give the child confidence and be the perfect partner as the child learns how to ride and handle a horse. The younger, less experienced horse may be too much of a handful for an inexperienced rider, possibly destroying her interest in horses. The best situation for your child's first horse is to find one that has a good general training rather than a horse that has only done 1 or 2 things in his life, such as racing, roping, barrel racing, or some other speed competition. The horse's temperament and past history are important. You don't want a skittish horse that's nervous because of previous bad handling. He may cause an accident because of his reactions to the mistakes of a beginner rider. You won't want a horse with bad habits such as biting, kicking, bucking, rearing, pulling back when tied, or other behaviors that could be dangerous for a child. The ideal first horse is an older, well-trained, sound animal with good disposition.
Thank you, Bess.
Thanks, Buzz.
Questions?
Treasurer's report? No, new ideas
New
coming
ideas.
up.
So, yeah, I played with this, I shrunk the postcard and I colorized it and I made a copy. And the onion and the pepper were too loud. This is what I came up with, kind of black and white.
Too bright.
Right,
Kinda
yeah,
distracting when
it
you're
took
trying to
away
read.
from the letters.
Oh, when it's on the screen?
Right, so I'm gonna try to run with that one that's on the front sheet, and then that's the onion and the pepper underneath
So
there.
is this
you
the
know.
size of the postcard? Is that why you
No,
put these
no, I
in?
gave it this.
Or you needed, I needed to be color-coded?
Can you do like a lighter green on the pepper to show what it is?
A faded green?
Yeah, well, and I'm not critiquing it, it just, so right here it looks like a bird. Almost. And I'm not trying,
If you look at it quick, it tells you.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying, so,
green.
so maybe if you kinda did it like
You mean just the edge or the whole thing?
the edge or the whole thing, I mean, I'm not.
It's hard to manipulate the computer, but I'll try, Don.
I mean,
I will
I'm not-
try.
Computer expert either,
What,
but I'm just-
what program did you use to make this?
I went to,
I'm just kidding.
I don't even, Ronnie, I don't even know. You know, there's that,
Want me to come over and mess with it for a little bit? See if I can,
yeah, come on over.
It's just even,
I'm good with this kind of stuff.
I know what you mean.
I'm saying, just
There's a
Ronnie does.
cutter, a clip art section, and
Let Ronnie
that's
do it.
where the pepper and onion came from. And I tried flipping the onion, flipping the pepper, and then when you put that bright green thing and the onion under it, boom, all the
Yeah, no, I
letters,
could see
all the
that.
words go away.
But if you have the black print in not a lime green like that, but just a soft green,
Like an onion green,
yeah, almost, yeah, exactly, yeah.
the kind of whitish green, kind of more like celery green.
I'll try,
Yeah.
but
I'm
there's,
just saying, and that black might pop on that green,
you know,
it's just,
Well,
because it,
pepper's a dark green, what are you gonna do with pepper? You could make
look
a red
underneath
pepper.
is the pepper, underneath is the pepper.
Well, I
that's-
see that.
That's the real green.
well, yeah, it's, well, I'm saying, just
And
kind
it,
of
and,
tone
and
the
that
green down.
size, it's too much. The clip art won't let me tone it, but I'll play with it.
Or how about pull the pepper out, just leave the onion on there?
Yeah, why do you have to have a pepper there?
It's kind of like our logo.
No, right, that's why I said,
It's on every
initially
other
said that.
letterhead we had, you know, so, I
But-
don't know.
Maybe just
I can come over and mess with it a little bit.
pull the contrast down a little bit, or darken the black, I don't know, can you darken the black up?
Blacker?
change-
Blacker?
Blacker, or change the font, make it a bolder print?
Now you're talking about secretaries now.
Well,
Let Ronnie do it. Let Ronnie, he's
Ronnie will have to come over and help me.
the technology
I'm
generator.
not,
Ronnie and I are working on it.
again, I'm not trying to critique it, I'm
What are
just
you going to do
trying
with
to.
this postcard?
I'm gonna leave some at town hall, and I'm gonna pass them out. Donnie's gonna get a stack for the winter market. Summer market, I'll have something at the table. Volunteers, members, this is what we do. Community garden, maybe, I don't know.
This green, something like that.
Make it kind of like nostalgic.
Oh, that nice
You
soft
call it a
green.
lime green? What would you call that?
Kind of
you
a
call it?
gray, isn't that a gray green?
Like an army green.
No.
It's like an army green.
Almost an army green, but, and that's off a flyer for Halloween, it was a Halloween thing on, for Salem. But the black kind of popped. and
I'll play with it. I'm trying to keep it in that size.
And maybe even do this yellowish white on the onion.
The beigey
Can you
thing.
see
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
a pretty green.
Just add a little bit of,
There's the yellow for the onion.
right, I mean, you almost could run with that.
Why can't you just
It-
do the pepper that lighter green? Because peppers,
If I can make it a lighter green. This clip art only has so many, I'm
So many
drawing and putting on a paper. It's drawing out of an existing PDF. I don't have all those colors yet, you know.
Well,
You can even do the letters. Maybe get a border on the letters too, so it make it kind of like
Pop
you know,
out.
3D. I can mess with it. I'll show
so
you.
I'm gonna text this picture to you,
Yep.
Ron, because I
Yes.
know his phone doesn't have pictures.
you have those talents, do you?
I did a lot of stuff like that in school.
Sweet. Well, then you need to, yeah,
Projects.
you could make it
whatnot.
like it's
He's our
three-dimensional.
videographer.
That's right.
Yeah,
Bob and I look good, so.
Cecil B. Ronnie.
Yeah.
Miracle worker.
Okay, moving on, you got more stuff here. Upcoming workshops and seminars. bear with me, there's a bunch.
Are we going back to G?
No, we just did G, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, yes, you're right.
But how much,
A new-
many-
I came with
Anybody
new
else have a
ideas.
new idea? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
Paul.
do have a new
Yeah,
idea.
please, feed me.
Possibly late April, mid-May, maybe we host a workshop on possibly container gardening, square foot gardening, for people who want something on their deck. I guess some ideas on, self-watering pots using 5-gallon buckets. Just, for some people, who are stuck in a condo, stuck in a patio,
Where would you hold this?
to be determined. But possibly Waspen Park, even
Provide,
something,
like,
even
water,
to do it as a workshop during the farmer's market one
I was just gonna say.
day. Again, people buy container plants all the time, but there's far better
So you wanna go
methods.
into O'Leary with 5-gallon pails?
In the wintertime to host it? I mean, we could.
Well, like, let's say April, you'll still be, Donnie will still be there in April.
Yeah, stuff that people can do in the house. I mean, let's
Be a
say April,
draw.
people,
We gotta keep it clean.
yeah, throw a
Yeah,
tarp
yeah.
down,
I know
keep
the
it
vacuum
simple.
is.
Yeah. Well, just, even if it's just
All
a
right. I like
even if
that.
it's just a slideshow and then a couple,
wouldn't it be better at
simple
in
hands-on
summer
things.
market, because that's when people start to buy all those plants.
Well, you
Do
could
think
do it
it'd
at the
be-
winter one because they have a screen like that over there in that other room.
You
So,
plant seeds in April, May.
Yeah.
At the
We
winter.
do.
yeah.
Well,
so they have a video screen.
Yeah, definitely something we can look at, but I mean, that was my thought.
why don't you
is
do the research, Paul?
I'll
and
be on
We'll
that.
keep looking at this.
I'll bring some stuff
good.
next
So
meeting.
I
when
like
you
that
come in the
idea.
door at the
Very
winter
good.
market, off to the left, there's all those tables. We can break them down, and there's a video screens if you wanted to do a slideshow or even on the wall. There's set independent lights over there too, and you're kind of with the market, but you're
Just
off the
simple
side.
demos, give people see what it's like up front and personal, and it's one thing to see it on the computer, another thing to see it in person.
Yeah.
Again, opens up more opportunities for people who don't have the space to garden
Right,
or
right.
don't want a full-size garden.
And you know what's interesting is a friend of mine, they use those, it's like tarp material.
Yeah.
And she plants her tomatoes in that.
Yeah, the grow
You
bags.
know, they kind of hang off the fence
Yeah.
or horse,
Yeah,
you know,
they grow
paddock
down
fence.
instead
Yeah.
of up. Yeah.
But it's big though, it's like a trough,
Yeah.
kinda, you know. I thought that's a good way to keep things.
That was my
contained.
new idea for 2000.
Thank you.
No,
That's a
'cause
good
you're
idea.
right, there are a lot of apartments and.
And you know what's, you also have the opportunity, if you needed it, wanted it, I could talk to Victory or some of these other guys that actually grow the stuff to help out if you wanted, or they could, or you could do it. I'm not just saying.
UNH might have a bulletin for that too. We could pass those on.
Probably
Look
do
at that.
over at the extension office.
You get them in Milford, you know,
I was just trying to
or
help.
Glad G-Town. Yeah, keep looking at that.
Take care of that.
Anybody else?
Good idea.
I would like to pick Gavin's brain, but that aquaculture is a totally different animal.
Well, right,
Yeah, I looked a little bit
Fish.
into that.
The
Yeah,
It's
hydroponics.
big money.
yeah.
It's a setup. It's getting set up and getting a function.
Well-
Once you get that going, it's
They also have,
Just maintaining it that
plant
way.
and cut, plant and cut, plant and cut.
they got some stuff in dirt.
Tissue culture?
Yeah, they're in little trays,
Yeah.
and then they kind of give it a haircut.
They do? Londonderry does? Oh, yeah.
So they actually have, I don't remember what it is. And they cut it, but they don't cut it all the way, you know, they leave
Back.
and it grows back.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
bring it back and they're in trays. So they're starting to do some of that because they have setups there at the greenhouse.
Ronnie, you could do barber school
I got,
with the
yep,
tunas.
I got enough on my plate.
You know, there's down off, is it Greenleaf? There's a house there and they have, their whole front yard is nothing but those big 5-gallon buckets. And I
Really?
think they must do everything.
know what you're talking about.
hydroponically. Down where, what's
It's
Cynthia's?
a self-watering container garden is what it is.
Oh, yeah? Where Cindy used to live?
Down just for past there on the left.
Huh.
Yeah, right as you turn the corner, there's a
Yeah,
cul-de-sac
they
to your
do
right.
have a whole
the
big
whole
setup
front-
up
front,
there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's just a self-watering container
Interesting.
garden.
Hmm.
It just runs and just,
Any other ideas? I don't want to shut anybody off here. No? Barber school? No?
how to shear sheep.
Yeah,
Well, there's not much on a pig to cut,
no.
you know,
Just bacon.
shave. Workshops and classes, January 7th through the 15th is an online workshop, Foundations for Permaculture. This can be viewed at your computer at home, kind of easy. Wednesday is January 9th, 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. Advanced Marketing Short Course, Granite State College in Concord, for those of us that want to upgrade the farm and sales ability and that type of thing. January 14th to the 21st online, Reducing Legal Risks Through Online Education. UNH Extension is providing this course. January 15th, Dairy Outlook webinar at 12 p.m., 2019. For those of us that have animals. January 16th, New Hampshire Landscaper, Grounds Committee, Groundskeeping, and UNHCE Joint Winter Meeting, at the Grapponi Center in Concord all day, January 16th. January 22nd, Pesticide Safety Educational Program, UNH Extension, Goffstown. I believe this is for commercial supervisory applications, study materials, that type of thing. There is a cost, I'm sure. January 28th, Changes in Tax Law and Impact on Farmers. It's a webinar, your computer at home. February 1st and February 2nd, again, New Hampshire Farm and Forest Expo at the Doubletree in Manchester. Many vendors, many farms representing in those classes. And there also, the second day is New Hampshire Vegetable and Berry Growers Association for those CEUs and classes available. I got a couple more here that came in the paper today. Farm Transfer Planning Basics, January 11th, Bretton Woods, that's kind of far away. Improving Negotiation Skills for Women Farmers, January 17th. In Tilton, New Hampshire. Passing Your Farm On to the Next Generations is a webinar, February 12th, 1 hour on a computer. Women in Livestock Business, February 15th and 22nd, and March 1st and March 8th. The Pease Public Library in Plymouth. Pesticide Safety, Grafton County, March 11th. The site is Pease Library. Stratford County is the Dover Library in Dover. And 4-H highlights. 4-H Animal Sciences Bonanza, January 12th at the Walpole Elementary School in Walpole, New Hampshire. Granite State 4-Hers and volunteers with interest in cows, goats, horses, and other animals can participate. Registration is $2. Something for the 4-Hers. That's all I have. I have one new bug. I'm going to throw the bug alert in this category too real quick. I got to find him. Bear with me. Got a new one that just came up from a dog in New York. Asian longhorn tick, identified in New Hampshire. Dog was visiting from New York State. First time the pest has been found in New Hampshire. Although 9 states in the United States have it since late 2017. This tick is native to Southeast Asia. Asking all farmers, veterinarians, animal owners if to be on alert for this tick. It's all red. And total eradication for the United States is probably unlikely because it's already in 9 states. I have the Latin name, but another tick we have to worry about. I think that's enough. What's next?
Treasurer's report.
Treasury report, please. Thank you.
All right. The Agricultural Commission Farmers Market Fund account for the summer market. The balance as of 12/31/2018 is $4,749.88. The Community Garden Fund account is $1,975.22 with a combined total of $6,725.10. The winter market balance as of 12/31/2018 is $208.34.
Thank you, Bess. Questions? Now, bear in mind, the $2,000 scholarship hasn't been taken out of this yet, so the numbers will change when they get that caught up. Item J, minutes, review of draft minutes from December 12th. I don't think I changed too much, Bess, but
The only thing, I didn't reread them
Yeah.
much today.
what do you
I
say?
just noticed, I think there was a "the" where an "of" should have been, but I don't think there's anything of,
Do you know which paragraph?
yeah, let's see, two. Oh, I should mark them when I think it was, on the winter market, Santa Mrs. Claus Delight of
Young and old stomping.
of the young and old. It should have been "and," delight of young and old, or something like that.
Delight
instead
of.
the- Instead of "the," don't you think
Of,
that's,
yeah, of the young.
Of.
Okay, I can change that.
I think that would sound better.
Okay.
I didn't,
Anybody else?
I didn't see any.
Motion to accept?
Make a motion to accept the minutes from December 12th, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ronnie?
I can't vote, I wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, 4 and 1 abstaining, please.
Correct, that's, yeah, because I wasn't there.
You're
I
right,
can't-
you're right,
yeah.
Ron, you're right. Okay. Comments from the press, comments from the public, comments from the commissioners.
Happy New Year, everybody. Haven't seen you guys in a while.
I got other big news,
Uh-oh.
you want me to write this down?
yeah.
You're the comment from the commission?
Tomorrow is Ronnie's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm not quite putting that. Your birthday?
Yeah,
Hey, me 19, 20?
23.
Happy birthday, Ronnie.
Yes,
birthday,
happy
Ronnie.
Appreciate it, thank you.
And his father's is 2 days later.
Yep, the 12th, yep.
Honest to God? Really?
Mark Rivets is on the 11th.
He's in the middle, yeah.
Oh,
Who's in the middle?
Mark Rivet.
wow.
Oh.
Anything else? The next meeting is February 13. We should be back in our regular room. We changed rooms because there was a budget meeting.
I kind of like this room.
Oh,
You don't have a view from here. Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
who first?
Voting?
Aye.
John,
Abstain.
you first?
Aye.
Paul second?
Yes.
And the time is 8:11. Thank you all for listening. Go and look at the winter market at O'Leary Center every Wednesday, 3 to 6,
When did
please.
you give me these?
I don't know.